The poem The Schoolboy by William Blake tells us the sorrow and dismay of a young boy who dislikes going to school every morning. I am sure this poem is not about you people. You children love to go to school, that I am sure. He expresses his displeasure by comparing his situation to that of a caged bird and flower that is withered at its early age. Although he is well aware about the importance of learning and is willing to gain knowledge, his only problem is with the restricted and dull environment school provides, which robs that little child or any child like him of the joy and happiness. The Schoolboy by William Blake. The schoolboy in the poem is not a happy child. What makes him unhappy? Why does he compare himself to a bird that lives in a cage or a plant that withers when it should blossom? I will read stanza by stanza and give explanation accordingly. Whatever difficult words which are marked here, please underline it and write on the meanings on top of it with a pencil in the book itself. Now let's start reading the first stanza of the poem, The Schoolboy. I love to rise in a summer morn when the birds sing on every tree. The distant huntsman winds his horn and the skylark sings with me. Oh, what sweet company! Morn here means morning. Winds here means play or blow the horn. Skylark is a common kind of Eurasian or North African bird. It can sing while having a hovering flight. In this stanza, the schoolboy, the unhappy schoolboy, expresses his delight of waking up on a summer morning. The schoolboy loves to get up on a summer morning when the birds enlighten it with the singing. One can find the birds on every tree on a Sunday morning as they sing. The boy loves the sound of the huntsman horn when he is on his way to hunting. He feels as if on a summer morning the skylark accompanies him to sing along. So the child is telling that he is very happy to wake up early in the summer morning. That means he must not be having to go to school. On such mornings he is happy to wake up. He likes the singing of the skylark. You can see the unhappy schoolboy here. Let's start reading second stanza. But to go to school in a summer morn, oh, it drives all joy away. Under a cruel eye outworn, the little ones spend the day in sighing and dismay. In this stanza, the schoolboy shares the displeasure of having to attend school every morning. The tone is entirely different from the one in the first stanza. In the first stanza, the schoolboy, that child, is happy to wake up in the morning when he does not have to go to school. But in this stanza, he is telling about his displeasure, his sadness that he has to go to school every morning. The tone is entirely different from the one in the first stanza. The schoolboy says that having to go to school every morning in summers robs them of all the joy and happiness. It tells that when they have to go to school every day, it steals away, it robs away all their happiness. In school, they are constantly under the watch of the teacher, which he feels is cruel, as it takes their freedom away. He says that when children go to school, they are always under the observation of their teacher. This shows that This boy wants to tell that by this surveillance or by the supervision of the teacher, their freedom is all gone. He mentions that little children spend their day in school being unhappy and distressed. Children, understand that this is only this unhappy child's explanation of the school, but I know you all enjoy your school days more than anything. Second stanza, third stanza I mean. Then at times I drooping sit and spend many an anxious hour, nor in my book can I take delight, nor sit in learning's bower, worn through with the dreary shower. Drooping means bent. When the flowers does not have sufficient water, they just droop. Their leaves, the petals become loose and they just droop. Learner's bower means a place where someone comes to learn. Worn means very tired. Through means it is a contraction of the word through, T-H-R-O-U-G-H. Dreary shower means depressingly dull or repetitive. Something that is repeated every time, which some children don't enjoy. Dreary shower. Let's understand this stanza. The young boy continues sharing his displeasure of having to attend the school. He shares how he sits lazily in his chair, spending hours waiting in distress for the school to get over. He expresses how he is unable to take pleasure in the knowledge that the book has to impart or of the learning environment. He has said the learning bowers, that is a school, a hub where the children come to learn, is ineffective as it is worn through with the dreary shower, which means that the education system is dull, tiring, repetitive and meaningless. Let's read further. Stanza 4. How can the bird that is born for joy sit in a cage and sing? How can a child, when fears annoy, but droop his tender wing, and forget his youthful spring? Here tender means soft. In the fourth stanza, this unhappy schoolboy compares himself and other students like him to be like a caged bird. When a bird that is meant to be free and joyful is put in a cage, it becomes distressed, unhappy, sad. A bird would not be able to sing or enjoy in a cage or be its best self like it would do otherwise when it is free, not in the cage. Thus, on the same grounds, he asks the readers a rhetorical question. How can a child bloom in a stressful and caged environment like the one provided by schools? He calls himself the bird which is in the cage, and schools a cage. So he is a bird and school is a cage for him. The schoolboy is aware that they must study and education is very important, but his complaint is about the close environment that constantly monitors them and robs them of their ability to learn and express themselves freely. When put in a cage, the birds don't flatter their wings and they tend to forget their youthful spring. Similarly, he asks how a child can mold himself or herself into forgetting their spirit, joy, and happiness that comes with their age and be creative in an environment like that. Let's read further. The last stanza. O father and mother, if buds are nipped and blossoms blown away, and if the tender plants are stripped of their joy in the spring day by sorrow and care's dismay, how shall the summer arise in joy, or the summer fruits appear? Poet William Blake. Here nipped means its spelling is Nipped. That means To nip something in the bud is to stop or destroy it at the early stage of its development. Stripped means robbed. Its spelling is S-T-R-I-P-P-E-D. In this stanza, the schoolboy, turns to his parents and is in a conversation with them. Here he compares himself and children like him to buds and that are being nipped, which means that by being forced to learn in a restrictive environment, the child's development is being hindered with at a very early stage. He says that if buds are nipped and their blossom, that is flowers, are blown away during spring season, that marks the foundation of their growth, how will fruits appear in the summer season? Similarly, when a child is being robbed of his joy and freedom to express at his or her developing stage, that is spring season, he will only be left with sorrow and dismay. When he grows up, that is, no fruit will bear by the way in which they are being forced to attend the school. Poem by William Blake. Now let's understand the poetic devices used here by the poet. The first poetic device that is used is alliteration. Alliteration means a repetition of a consonant sound at the beginning of two or more consecutive words, and this is known as alliteration. For example, you can see here sky, lark, sings. Here these are two words which is beginning with a consonant letter, that is S. Skylark sings. Another one is blossom, blown. Blossom, blown. Here B words are repeated and these words are next to each other. So this is known as alliteration. The poetic device that is being used here is alliteration. Second one is repetition. The repeated use of a word or sentence to lay emphasis on it is called repetition. For example, in this poem, summer moon has been repeated to emphasize that it was a hot summer day. Thank you, children. I hope you understood the poem and the poetic devices that are used here.